In the days of the twilight of great kingdoms, when the earth groaned beneath the weight of its own pride, and the heavens watched in silence, there arose a man of no renown, from a land forgotten by the mighty. His name was Silas, a humble laborer, whose hands knew the burden of toil and whose heart yearned for the eternal. And it came to pass, on a day like any other, that Silas wandered into the wilderness, seeking solace from the din of the city. He carried with him only a loaf of bread and a vessel of water, for his soul hungered more than his body. As he walked, the sun beat upon his back, and the stones beneath his feet cried out in their barrenness. Yet Silas pressed on, drawn by an unseen hand. In the midst of his journey, he came upon a desolate valley, a place where no bird sang and no flower bloomed. The air was heavy, and the silence was as a shroud. In the center of the valley stood a tree, twisted and blackened, as though it had been scorched by fire from the heavens. And beneath this tree, there sat a figure cloaked in shadow, whose presence made the earth tremble. The figure spoke, and its voice was as the roar of the tempest, saying, "Silas, son of the earth, why have you come to this forsaken place?" Silas, trembling, fell to his knees and replied, "I seek truth. For my soul is weary, and the ways of men are dark." Then the figure rose, and its form was as a pillar of smoke, shifting and ungraspable. It said, "If truth is what you seek, then you must forsake all that you know. You must walk paths untrodden and face trials that will rend your soul. Will you accept this burden?" Silas, with tears streaming down his face, cried out, "Lord, lead me, for I have nothing but this life to offer." At this, the figure stretched forth a hand, and a great light burst forth, blinding and terrible. When Silas opened his eyes, he found himself in a city unlike any he had ever seen. The streets were paved with gold, but the people were clothed in rags. The air was filled with laughter, but it was hollow, echoing as if from a great void. And in the midst of the city stood a tower, reaching into the heavens, its peak hidden in clouds. A voice spoke to him, saying, "Behold the city of vanity, where men worship their own reflections and build monuments to their pride. Here you must speak, though they will hate you for it." Silas entered the city, and as he walked, he saw merchants selling wares of no value and priests offering blessings for a price. He stood in the marketplace and cried out, "Turn from your ways, for the days of reckoning are near. The Lord of hosts sees your deeds, and his wrath is kindled." The people laughed and mocked him, saying, "Who are you to judge us? Are you not a beggar like us?" But among the crowd, a child came forward, and his eyes were as flames of fire. He said, "Do not despise the words of the prophet, for he speaks the truth." At this, the laughter ceased, and a great silence fell upon the city. Yet the hearts of the people remained hard, and they turned away. Silas departed the city, heavy of heart, and the voice spoke to him again, saying, "You have done as I commanded. Now you must climb the mountain of trial, for your journey is not yet complete." He came to the foot of a great mountain, its peak shrouded in darkness. The path was steep and treacherous, and the air grew thin as he ascended. Along the way, he was beset by visions of his past, the faces of those he had wronged, the sins he had committed, and the dreams he had forsaken. Each step was a battle, yet he pressed on, crying out to the heavens for strength. At the summit, he found a cave, and within it burned a fire that gave no heat. Before the fire stood a figure clothed in light, whose face was veiled. The figure said, "Silas, you have borne the burden of truth and faced the darkness within. Now you must make a choice. Will you return to the world and bear its scorn, or will you remain here in peace, forgotten by all?" Silas fell to his knees and wept, saying, "Lord, not my will, but yours be done. Send me where you will, for I am yours." The figure reached out and touched his forehead, and a great peace filled his soul. When he opened his eyes, he was back in the wilderness. But the valley was no longer desolate. The tree that had been blackened now bore fruit, and the air was filled with the song of birds. From that day forth, Silas went forth as a messenger, proclaiming the word of the Lord. He faced persecution and mockery, yet his spirit remained unbroken, for he carried within him the fire of truth. And though he was despised by men, he was beloved of God, and his name was written in the book of life. Thus ends the tale of Silas, a man of no renown, who became a vessel of the divine. Let him who has ears to hear, hear. And let him who has eyes to see, see. For the ways of the Lord are not the ways of men, and his wisdom is foolishness to the proud. Amen.